Alright guys, welcome back to Raw Doing Stuff. So today I have myself a 8.04 pound pork butt here that I picked up at the local Sam's Club. And I'm going to smoke this thing. Now what I'm going to do with it, I've done several videos on pork butts. I did one with injection, I did one with the binder, and which grill was the best to cook it on. So on the grill, the Weber kettle came out the best between the pellet grill, the Weber kettle, and the gas grill. I'll put a link to those videos in the description if you want to watch them. The best injection from the ones I tested was just pineapple juice, and the best binder was homemade ranch dressing, and the best rub was my pork rub, the CC Riders pork rub. So anyway, we're gonna test. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all those, combine them, and make the perfect pork butt. Then when I wrap it, I'm gonna use the foil boat method, which is wrapped in paper with a foil boat, and we're gonna cook it that way because that gave us the best bark and still kept the meat real juicy. So stick around. We're gonna cook the perfect pork butt today that I've come up with from testing, and we'll bring you in closer and show you how we do that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, like with all my pork butts and all of them I tested, is get rid of this fat cap. This isn't going to render down. It just leaves you with less bark. I have cooked them with and without, but I haven't done a video on that. I'm going to do a video on that, one with and one without. But in my opinion, it doesn't make any moisture to leave any moisture, is that a word? Not really. More moist, I suppose, to leave the fat cap on. So I take them off, and it seems to give me the best results because I get bark all the way around. So anyway, I just kind of work underneath here. I'm going to get this cut off real quick and get this pork butt trimmed up. Okay guys, that looks pretty good. We got it all trimmed up. You can see I get pretty aggressive on the trim. Take a lot of that fat off. There's a vein and stuff that's down in here. I pull that out. That's nasty. Nobody wants to eat that. So anyway, next thing we're going to do is we're going to get this injected with our pineapple juice. And the way I like to inject these is I come down this way, because then if you do it up here, it gets a whole bunch of holes in there. This should just come down. You can see the different muscles that are in here because they're separated by the fat. So you can come in here and kind of just pump them up. You can see how plump this side is. So we're going to come over here and get that money muscle up there. You can see how that plumps up. When it starts coming out, you know you've got enough in there. You can see how that just expands as that goes in. That's what you want to see. Getting a little low here. It's alright, we're about done. its backside. Get away from the bone there. Okay, that's about it. That's all we need to do there. Next step, our binder, which is this ranch dressing here. You have to have the homemade stuff. The other stuff just doesn't taste the same. And I know you'll all think I'm weird with this ranch dressing, but I tested it against the usual old mustard and that ranch dressing beat out, so that's what we're going with here. You could definitely taste the difference. That was actually the only one that I could tell the difference on, was the ranch dressing versus anything else that I tried. So, okay, time to rub this butt. Oh, that's a bit much. Came out quicker than I expected. It's alright, it's a big piece of meat. Can handle a lot of rub there. We'll spread that around a little, share the love. Get all your edges here like normal. Whoa, holy smokes. We're getting crazy there. Have to have the big end open so that we get the everything going here. There's some brown sugar in there, and sometimes it kind of cakes up a bit, but take some of this and get it over here on the edge so we don't waste it. I could probably just roll that in it. There we go. And put a little bit down in here where we cut all that fat out. That'll give us a little flavor down in there, not too much, or it kind of just gets all cakey in there. Don't get a bark. You don't get your bark down in there. Anyway, that's it. We're just going to let this thing out for a minute while we get our Weber warmed up and ready to go. We're going to smoke it today with our slow and sear, so we'll see you when we're ready to put it on the grill. Alright guys, we're ready to put this thing on. We've got a couple pieces of cherry wood on here. Got our slow and sear going. Just gonna set this right here. We got a drip pan under there that'll catch everything coming off that. I'm gonna grab my temp probe here. It's gonna go right there in the thickest part. That will give us an accurate reading. We're gonna get this back on here. So I've got my bottom vent closed almost all the way. It's just barely open. Top vent wide open. I found with that I get about 225 to 250 with this slow and sear, which is where we want to smoke this thing at. Hope you like my new lighting. You can see things a lot better out here when I'm filming now. And we're just going to let this roll overnight, and we'll be back in the morning to check on it. It's probably in about 4 or 5 hours we'll be back, and we're going to wrap this thing up. So once it hits an internal of about 160, that's where we're going to wrap it. So we'll see you back here then. Alright guys, so this thing's been going since 12 o'clock last night. It's 7 o'clock in the morning now. So we're going to get it off the grill. It's at 161 degrees. It's been going about, it's been ranging between 250 and 275. Would have liked it a little lower, but that's where it wanted to be, so that's what we went with. And it's been fine. That'll work for us. So we're going to get it over. I'm going to show you how I do the foil bolt method on this thing. We're going to wrap it up and get it back on the grill. Oh yeah. That's looking good, guys. Real good. Okay, so this is how I do it. I just fold these ends up. One layer of that right now. Fold this up. Then I'll do the second layer, same way but from the opposite end. just like that. You want to wrap it up as tight as you can. I'm going to set this in the middle here. We'll just kind of hold this up. Just making sure that you don't have holes in it. Because what this does is it holds the moisture in there, but it also lets you preserve that good bark. We have some good bark going on that thing, and we don't want to lose that. But this will make it good and tender. It'll still have the bark. Like I say, I tested wrapping this, wrapping it in foil, wrapping it in just in paper. And I put 2 layers just in case one gets a hole in it. So just like that, you can see we're still going to get air through the top, so it's not going to kill our bark, but we're going to preserve all that moisture down on the bottom. Let's get this back on the smoker. Okay, we're going to get this closed up. We're just going to let this ride until it gets. We want this thing, we need to put that back in there. Don't forget that. The paper's a little tough to get through. Use both hands here. Okay, so we got to take this pork butt to about 200, 205. 205 seems to be about where the sweet spot is for pork butt, at least what I've found. So we're going to let this run to 205. It's going to be so tender, so good, and we're going to preserve that bark. So stick around and we will show you what we come up with in the end here. Show you that bark. We'll show you how moist it is. It's going to be really good. Alright guys, we got our pork butt here. We hit 205 degrees, 203 to be exact. We ended up taking it off the pellet grill part, or off the Weber partway through. After we wrapped it, my coals kind of started going out and I didn't want to put new ones on there. So I just threw it on the pellet grill to finish it up, which isn't going to make any difference. You could put it in the oven, propane smoker or whatever, because all you're doing is producing heat at that time. And I didn't want to use any more charcoal than I had to. But anyway, we're going to open this thing up and see what we've got. So we'll bring you in closer and let you take a look at it. Alright guys, so we're going to get this thing out of here. See what we got. Pull off our foil boat here. Oh yeah. Look at that. It's just falling apart in there. Pull this out. Set it on the tray here. Oh yeah, look at that bark. See, this is what I like. This is what I like about that paper. It makes that bark so good. Sneak a little. Oh, perfect guys. Anyway, I'm going to show you how I get this pulled apart, and then we'll come back and try it officially. Okay guys, I'm going to show you how I pull these apart. There's a specific way that I do it. First thing we got to do, get that bone out of there. Look how clean that is. And then what I do, see, now some people just come in and they'll just shred this whole thing to pieces. But if you do this the right way, which is come in here and kind of separate. If you separate like the muscles like this, because these are all, you know, different muscles with fat between them. Because you get like this fat here, and that doesn't render down, and nobody wants to eat that. And if you just come in here and you just shred it all up, then you got that fat in there. It's not as good of an end product as you could get if you take and pull these little pieces of fat out. And people will say, oh, well, all the fat should render down. Well, it does to an extent, but it leaves like the basically byproduct, I guess you'd call it, of the fat in with it. So you got like this stuff here, which is not something somebody wants to eat, you know. So we'll pull off that old money muscle there. See, same thing there. You got this stuff here that's just kind of this gooey, nobody wants to eat that. So anyway, in my opinion, this is the proper way to pull apart pork butt, rather than just get in there and just shred the whole thing in one big lump, because you can get rid of all this stuff that I don't want to eat. Maybe some people do, but to me, I don't like eating that. So anyway, if you just come in here like this, and then I just kind of stack it up as I pull these apart and pull the fat out from in between them. Takes a bit more time, but your end product is so much better than if you just shred it. That looks good. See, here we are some more. Like I say, you just pull these apart in chunks, because the fat's not down in here. It's just on the outside of these. And I guess it's not really fat, it's more like, I don't know what you call it that's left over after the fat, but that's what it is. The fat's gone and melted into the meat, but you do have like this stuff. You get what I'm saying. So anyway, personal preference, that's how I do it. I just come through here like that, and you'll have a lot better product in the end. Alright, and then I'll kind of look over it again, just make sure that I got everything out of there that I don't want in there. Like this one, I missed a piece right there. Then once I'm happy with it, I feel like I have it right where I want it to be. Because see, look at this stuff, you know. Nobody wants to eat that. I mean, that's just, yeah. Just, you get the bite of that on your sandwich, in my opinion, not good. Then I just go ahead and pull it apart. Now that I know I've got my fat out of it, just like you normally would. Like I say, in my opinion, gives you a lot better product. This has some awesome bark on it. I love the way that Weber kettle is with the bark. Uh-oh, piece down. 10-second rule. That's just as tender as can be, you see. You just shred it up. People use those bear claw things and stuff, but if this thing's cooked right, you don't need them. You just pull it apart like this, and you have yourself a nice, beautiful pile of pulled pork there. Just like that. Now we got to give this a try. Alright guys, we got her all pulled apart, looking good. I know what I want. This piece right here, I've been eyeballing it. It's got all this bark on it. Man, we better feed the cameraman. Oh, that's some good pulled pork, guys. It just melts in your mouth. It's so good. I can't wait to get this inside. I can't keep out of it. Gotta have another bite of that. So tender, juicy, so good. You're missing out. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up and a like. If you remember on this is the perfect pulled pork that I've found so far. I'm going to keep working on it through doing different tests and stuff, but from everything I've found so far, this is the best way to do it. So if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up and a like, and we'll see you on the next one.